with social media, TikTok, Instagram, things like that, you think communication has gotten better?
Like communicating always through like text message, which is what I do now. Like it's hard to have a face-to-face conversation. It
Oh
makes it
yeah, try
harder.
to do sarcasm on a text. Let me tell you, it doesn't
And
work out sometimes.
sarcasm, like yeah, you don't know how sarcasm works, and if you just met this person, if they're being
Yeah,
sarcastic or not, right?
sarcastic on a tweet.
Yeah, so like that type of stuff, like I think we've gotten worse in communicating
Yeah.
face to
I
face
mean, Robert,
in
this
real
happened to
time.
me and you a few times too because I tried to try sarcasm on a WhatsApp chat and you didn't get it half
And
the
I
time.
yeah, and I'm like Mike,
Could
why
you be
would you say
serious?
this? That's such a weird thing to say. And like, oh, you're being sarcastic. That did not. I went way over my head. I was like, I'm
Yeah,
done.
but it doesn't convey the message. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, so like it's weird like having all of this stuff, but I feel like people are getting better at uh communicating messages in short form
Effective way, you mean more
and
effective?
more effectively, and it may not always be like for productive stuff, like things like TikTok where you have 30 seconds to like say,
Get
or
a
is
message
it 10
across. Get a
seconds
message
to get
across.
a message across. They get it across super fast, right? Like this, they put it all together, and it's
And it's entertaining sometimes and it sticks to your head.
yeah. And then like that's how like Instagram was. Like you take a picture, but like you take the right picture, it conveys a certain image.
That's true. I mean, speaking of different communication types, I feel like, that's a non-verbal thing, right? Like an
Mm.
image. I feel, when people said, image is word that doesn't work, that's what it means
Yeah.
because it can represent certain things
Mm.
in many different ways. And I think social media has helped it to be more effective, but also at the same time, it has hindered communication of people being lazy in a way.
Yeah, people are lazier, and their
Yeah.
shorter attention span is just
Yeah,
getting
short attention
worse.
span. That's correct. And it's not, and then it's only good to communicate one way, but not listening.
That's true. I guess
Yeah.
that's very true. And like it's like like it's so manipulative too. Like you can like look at
Oh, it's
something
very
and they
manipulative
can
for sure.
manipulate it whatever they feel like.
Yeah,
Have you
it's an art. It's an art.
Yeah, have you seen there's a picture of like a soldier pointing a gun at a like someone on the ground, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And and they showed like a picture of it, and they're like, this is what some people would show, and they show the guy pointing a gun at a guy sitting on the ground, like,
Yeah.
oh, it's helpless guy. Second, and then like if you expand the picture out, he has like a plate of food that he's like forcing the guy to eat. He's like, eat this food 'cause he's starving, right? Like it wasn't
Oh,
anything.
so
It
it
was
was just
completely
to one
different,
frame,
right?
and
They like crop it so that you see certain things, and I
yeah,
think
so to
that's
narrow that down.
they
Yeah,
like yeah to change the narrative, or like to change it to
but
whatever you want.
this happens in videos too. Keep that in mind. They only show
Hmm.
a certain clip of video. We've seen that over and over again in certain
Yeah.
things, though.
It's
So,
also like the whole like Facebook thing where like everyone shows the best moments of their life on Facebook,
oh, that's true.
and that
And everyone's a
community
happy life in a
yeah,
sense. Like,
everyone's living the best life ever, and you're always like looking at it and be like, man, I wish my life was as good as these
well, this is also people filming clips of violence situation. They don't know if they don't film the whole thing. They only film 10 seconds of that segment. You don't know how, for example, that cop showed up, things like that. It
yeah
happens only that they only show that 3 second segment and it gets misinterpreted half of the time.
yeah
And it's kind of and people jump to the conclusion. And then I think that kind of hinders the right communication out there
yeah. So it changes narratives
so much.
yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
whatever way people want to,
yeah.
and I think that type of communication has increased a lot during this time, right? Like
All during COVID time, yeah, for sure. Because then now we have more
not
attention
just
span
during
to it.
COVID time, like this time, like before, like in the 2000s, we didn't have as much. Like in the
Oh, that's true.
1990s, we didn't have like this
It was newspaper
generation.
though. It
This
was still happening with newspaper though.
All right,
But
it's just in this generation, every generation gets a little bit worse at it, and like or better at it, but it gets worse for like the world, right? That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Yeah.
yeah. And if you don't have that kind of awareness to question it too, and I
Mm.
feel like you're just gonna believe anything you see.
Yeah, yeah. So it's something we have to work on as a society, is to
But
see
how do you
the
teach
bigger
that though? How do you
picture.
teach? How do you teach that in high school kids that say, "Hey, don't believe anything you see. Just make sure you question certain things." Like, how do you teach that? And I think that's part of communication.
It's definitely part of communication. We have to like make sure that everybody is verifying what they're seeing, right?
It's hard though.
Which is it's hard to do with people who don't know how to do it, how to verify. They
Or
don't
even be aware.
or they don't want to. They don't
Oh,
want
that's
to
true.
verify.
Laziness is a huge thing.
Um Yeah, or they see something that they want to believe, and then they just believe it.
That's true. That happens to a lot of people. That happens to a lot of people.
Even if it's not what happened, they don't even want to check it because they want to believe.
That's true.